ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Let's Play Warframe. I'm your host with the most, as always, Francois878, and today I'd like to talk to you guys about the brand new weapon introduced in Spectres of the Rail Update 1. That is, of course, the Heliocor hammer, the final hammer in the Cephalon series of weapons in Warframe, and it is a doozy. Not only is this weapon beautiful to look at, the stats are on par with some of the heavy hitter weapons in the game, and it has the bonus utility of codex scanning any enemy that it's killing. That's why the enemies that I'm killing are turning green. It's collecting a codex scan for those enemies. Now, I know a lot of you already have your codexes finished, but for newer players, this will be a much easier way to get those scans. Speaking of newer players, the building requirements for this particular weapon are not as steep as some of the building requirements that we've seen recently. Now, the blueprint is obtainable from Cephalon Samaris for 75,000 standing. Once you have the blueprint, it is worth to build 20,000 credits, 700 polymer bundles, 1,200 rubido, 1 grammacore, and 1 morphix to finish this hammer up. That is very reasonable, considering the stats on this particular weapon put it on par or slightly below the heaviest and best melee weapons in the game right now. Compared to the Fragor Prime, which is arguably the best heavy weapon in the game, the Heliocor does slightly more physical damage, 140 versus 130, mostly in impact. It does have a slightly lower crit chance at 25%, a slightly lower crit damage at 2.0. It has a much lower status chance at only 2.5%, and it has a slightly higher attack speed at 0.833. So this weapon is very solid for the build requirements, and the added utility of the codex scans is awesome. And the fact that it looks amazing, all of the Cephalon weapons in this series look very cool and very unique and very sci-fi. This is actually Cephalon Suda decided to tango with me. I had to throw one of her weapons back at her. But this video, we're also going to be talking about some builds. Now, because this weapon has a base of 25% crit chance, a crit build is highly recommended. And crit build, I mean Berserker. Berserker will increase the attack speed of this weapon exponentially to where it is usable. The weapon swings very slowly without Berserker active, so if you want to survive, you need to have Berserker running all the time. It's almost mandatory to have it on. Other than that, Blood Rush or Body Count would be good. No status chance mods. The base status chance of this weapon only being 2.5%. There's no point in even trying to run any sort of status chance mods on this weapon. It's pointless. Pressure point, obviously, that's a must. If you have the primed version, you can do that. Personally, I also threw Life Strike on there. The Life Strike just increases the survivability of pretty much every frame in the game by granting your frame lifesteal on channeling for your melee weapon. It's a must on most weapons. Depending on the weapon that you're using, the level of life strike may change. I'm only using a level 1 life strike on the Heliocor because I'm dealing so much damage. I don't need to have any more life strike, and the more levels of life strike you have, the more lifesteal you get, but also the heavier the channeling cost. So I kind of tried to meet myself in the middle there and not try and conserve my energy. I also have Organ Shatter on there, but not True Steel. That's interchangeable. I figured with a 25% crit chance, that would be enough that I'd be critting enough to activate Berserker pretty steadily, and Organ Shatter is better because I want to be doing more damage. If you feel like True Steel is a better choice, that's up to you. These builds are completely subjective, and they're completely up to you. For the elemental mods, I used all the 90% elemental mods. You can also use Collision Force, which is the 120% impact damage mod. That would go wonderfully on this particular hammer. I went with elemental mods, though, just to get the correct damage types for each individual enemy that I'm going up against, corrupted, infested, that sort of thing. Impact damage is best against Corpus and shielded enemies typically, so that's why I'm a little hesitant myself to use Collision Force. But that's totally up to you guys. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think. I would love to hear it because this weapon, I feel like, has a lot of potential. You could build Primed Fury and Berserker on here and just go all attack speed because this weapon's base damage might be enough to not have to focus completely on damage mods. Like other melee weapons, you may be able to go a more speedier build to counteract the lack of inherent lack of attack speed in the heavy weapon. But that's totally up to you guys. I just want to speak really quick aesthetically. If I already kind of mentioned the uniqueness of the design, the fact that this hammer isn't even really a hammer, it's more like just energy rings that are made to look vaguely like a hammer, is incredible. Whoever designed this hammer needs a raise. DE, I hope you're listening, because the art department is on point with this weapon 100%. Overall, this is an absolute knockout of the park for me, this weapon. It hits everything that I want and completes a very unique, interesting set of weapons that I hope will be getting some sort of bundle soon with the Cephalons, either with Suda or with Samaris, because right now I believe the Grammacor might be out of the marketplace, and I know the Simulor is from Samaris, so I feel like the Grammacor could also be with Samaris. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not. But that's going to be about it, ladies and gentlemen, on this beautiful hammer. We are going to be... we might be taking a look at some of the other skins that released in Update 1 of Spectres of the Rail. I'm not sure yet. That's a lot of it's a lot of Fashion Frame for me. And for those of you who don't know, I'm terrible at Fashion Frame. I'm trashed here at that. So we'll have to see. I haven't decided one way or the other yet. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Warframe content coming very soon. I've been your host of the most, as always, Francois878, signing off.